Well, joining me via Skype is Public Affairs Analyst Biodun Sowunmi. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
All right, now, easing of lockdown measures calls for more vigilance. That's what the government is saying. And if this calls for vigilance, on whose part and how so?
Well, it's on the parts of everyone. In the first instance, the government is right to try and reopen the economy because you can't shut down the economy, perpetually, particularly in a country without welfare benefits. And we can see the dwindling price of oil. So therefore, we'll be in trouble. So the partial or gradual reopening of the economy is right. But while doing that, public safety must not be compromised. And that is why, on the part of government, the government needs to ensure that there's eternal vigilance to ensure that people are not moving from one part of the country to the other, and spreading infection further, community infection, like what happened in Italy. So on the part of the people also, we need to ensure that we maintain social distancing and ensure that people who are feeling unwell, are required or are compelled to go to the hospital for appropriate treatment. In case if it's COVID-19, then they need to self-isolate, because don't forget that the symptoms of malaria are quite very similar to the symptoms of COVID-19. So we live in an era a period where nobody can assume that malaria is malaria and not COVID-19. And it's more important, not only in the city centers, in the urban areas, particularly in the rural areas where there's hardly any testing going on currently.
Before I take you up on the rural areas, you mentioned some measures. The palliatives government put in place, wasn't that enough? Could they have perhaps done that differently to ensure that there was no need to, open up the society as we speak? Because even during the lockdown, we still see a rise in cases.
Yes, I wonder whether, given the situation we find ourselves, government could have done better. One, we do not have reliable data or statistics on people who are unemployed or underemployed in the country that may be vulnerable, in a situation like this. We also do not have the ability to trace people because we do not have a centralized database or any statewide database of where people live. So therefore, to target those who require assistance or who are very, very vulnerable, it's virtually very difficult. This is not the fault of any government. This is the fault of successive governments in the country. And therefore, we now find ourselves in a very difficult situation. Whatever assistance is being rendered, to people currently in form of palliatives, is being criticized by some people simply because they've not seen the impact. But the fact of the matter is, some palliatives are going around and people are being given some level of support, but it's certainly not sufficient. I doubt whether there's any state government or the federal government have the means currently as things stand with the price of oil, to ensure that all Nigerians that require palliatives, are given. If you look at, for instance, the case of face mask, we have government saying in one particular state, they're producing 1 million masks to distribute to people, but we have 4.2 million people living in that state. In the case of Lagos State, you have about 20 million people living in Lagos State. We'll be lucky if government is able to provide 5 million, face masks. So these are some of the problems. It will never go around because we have a higher proportion of our people either underemployed or unemployed or self-employed, unlike the formal sector where you have just less than under 20 million people, working in the country. So when you look at that situation, that is in the formal work sector. So when you look at that, quite a lot of people have shut down their businesses and they're not in a position, to be able to afford some of these things. So it's always going to be a very difficult game, for government, because people will continue to criticize, they will complain, and it's not unexpected. But
all right.
That is the
I really wanted us to look at the situation in rural areas, especially what government can do moving forward. But then we have to let you go now. Biodun Sowunmi, thank you for speaking with us.